Hi, I'm Trish. I haven't made a video for ages. I don't know what ages is. Maybe it's only been about a month. I don't know. But I've been feeling really pretty shit actually. I've been having a really seriously rough time with anxiety. Depression's not been real great. I've just had a lot going on in my brains and just really didn't feel like making a video. But I thought I'll make one now. This is going to deviate from my normal videos because it's not about weight loss and it's not about reconstructive surgeries after massive weight loss, but I figure people may or may not be interested anyway. I know people will certainly be interested in how laparoscopic surgery affects a fleur-de-lis scar. I'm not showing that today because I've still got the dressings on. But I will make a video of that when I take the dressings off so that people can see. I'm very curious to see as well. I haven't seen it either yet. I've seen the bottom one, but not the top one. Anyway, so this video is about a hysteroscopy, not hysterectomy, hysteroscopy. That's where they put the camera up through the vagina into the cervix to have a look inside the uterus, and they take biopsies if need be, plus endometrial ablation and tubal ligation. Now, I will give a bit of a TMI warning about this because if you've watched any of my other videos, you do know that I don't have a filter. I'll try to keep it as nice as possible, but if you're a little bit, ew, blood, ew, periods, ew, orgasms, just turn it off now because I don't hold back. I'll try to keep it nice, but we know I have no filter. So there's your warning. And also, if you're my kids, finally, after all this time, suddenly taking an interest in my videos, just don't watch this one, okay? Just don't. So, I had been having a lot of problems with my periods. And the reason I'm posting this, and particularly like talking about the orgasms, is there is nothing on YouTube. Like I can look up experiences of women who've had hysteroscopies, endometrial ablation, tubal ligation, laparoscopies. That's all over the internet. I've watched a million videos on laparoscopies. I mean, they are fascinating. They are really cool videos. But I was sitting here the other day, and I'm day 5 now. I had all of that done last Friday, and it's Wednesday today, so it's day 5. I was sitting here yesterday, and I was Googling stuff about just about the procedures that I had done. And when you go into those Google searches, and then you just find this, and then this, and then this, and this, and then you just end up in this great big loop, and you're just finding out all this shit that you didn't even know existed. And I started reading stuff that women had posted in forums, like online forums, about not being able to orgasm after they've had these procedures. And I've read that and I was like, what the fuck? No. I need to see if my shit still works. But anyway, I'll get to that. So that's why I'm making this video. Not so much to educate people or tell people what my experience has been with these surgeries, but because I could not find one single YouTube video, and maybe I'm just shit at looking up stuff, could not find one single YouTube video about orgasm after these procedures. I found stuff on transgender orgasms. That was pretty interesting. I found stuff on orgasming after spinal injuries. I haven't watched that one yet, but I'm going to watch it. So there's lots of other stuff, but nothing specific to this. And because I had a heart attack when I read about women not being able to orgasm or not have as good orgasms after these procedures, I thought I'll share it. So anyway, I've been having a lot of problems with my periods. And I am 50, so I am very most likely in perimenopause. I'm not in menopause yet, but perimenopause. So I've been having irregular periods. It's anywhere between well, I don't know, my last one was only 2 weeks after the previous one, went for 2 weeks, it was heavy. The one before that one went for a month, it was heavy. So, you know, I did give a lot of thought to whether or not to get these procedures done. And then, you know, my second last period, once I'd been bleeding heavily for 3 weeks, I sat down and I thought, yeah, I've got to do something. I can't stuff around with this anymore. Because, you know, my thinking was, oh, you know, I'm heading into menopause soon. You know, I might only have periods for another year or 2 years. You know, what's the point of all this? And I thought, no, I've really got to do this. And it's relatively minor surgery, like when you compare it to other surgeries I've had done. But, you know, it is still surgery. So anyway, my time came up on the list and I went in to have it done. As I said, the hysteroscopy, where they have a bit of a look around, endometrial ablation, where there's lots of different ways they can do it, but with me, they put a balloon up through the vagina and the cervix into the uterus, and then they fill that balloon with like really hot water. I don't know exactly what temperature, but like really, really, really hot water. And then they leave it there. The surgeon told me for 2 minutes and 38 seconds. He was very specific about that. And then they take it out, and that burns the endometrium, which is the lining of the uterus, which is what bleeds when you have a period. And when they do that, some women still get periods, but they're lighter, and some women they just don't get periods at all anymore, at least for a few years. From what I've read, it lasts for about 5 years, and then the endometrium can start growing back. But I don't know. This is all new to me. I'm hoping that it just kills my periods dead. I would be happy to never, ever, ever have another period as long as I live. So I had that done. Plus, because when you have the endometrial ablation done, it's very unlikely that you'll ever get pregnant. But if you do, it's really bad. Like really, really bad, because the embryo can implant directly into the wall of your uterus because there's no endometrium there, or there's not enough endometrium to sustain it, or you can have tubal pregnancies. Just like really bad shit can go down if you do get pregnant after having an ablation. So because of that, my gynecologist advised that I also get my tubes tied. So, well, when I say tied, had tubal ligation, they put clamps on my fallopian tubes. They're called Filshie clamps. They're, I looked up, I think surgical steel or titanium, I can't remember, one or the other, but both of those metals can go through an MRI machine, and they're coated in silicone, or they've got silicone in them. And I did need to make sure that whatever metal they were, that they can go through an MRI machine, because I don't want to be in a position where I've got these clamps on my fallopian tubes and then something happens to me, like they think I've got, you know, cancer or something, and they need to do an MRI, but they can't because I've got these clamps. So that's how I know they're titanium or stainless steel. Can't remember. One of those. Anyway, they can go in an MRI machine. So I opted to have the tubal ligation done as well. Number one, I don't want any more kids. I'm 50. My youngest is 22 now, and the very second, like I'd always wanted just one more. I've got two. I've got 20-year-old and 24-year-old. I'd always wanted just one more until my daughter's final day of high school, when I went and I parked the car and I was waiting to pick her up, and she was walking towards the car, and I looked and I thought, no more. It was like just a flick switched in me. A flick switched? A switch. Flicked. Like someone turned a tap off in me. And I thought, no more kids. I'm not going through this again. I'm not going to do the kinder and the primary school and the high school and all the drop-offs and pick-ups and no more. I love my kids. I would not change a thing, but I don't want more. It's time to stop doing all that. Having said that, I do still run around after them all the time, but it's not that, you know, that everyday, constant. So, also, with the tubal ligation, I don't have a boyfriend, I don't have a partner, I haven't had sex since last September, but I'm a 1%er, and it would be exactly like me to, go 5 years without having sex and then have sex once, and I'll be straight up honest, I'm not good at using condoms. It would be like me to not have sex for 5 years, have sex once, and get pregnant after an endometrial ablation. That's me. That's how I'm that person. That would 1,000,000% happen to me. And I am hoping to, get a partner and have lots and lots and lots of sex. So I should have just got my tubes tied years ago, to be honest. So anyway, so I got that done as well. That all went well. I went to the hospital. I don't know how long the surgery took. I've got a feeling it took a little bit longer because although it did take me a very long time to wake up in recovery as well. They were talking about, I was meant to be a day case, and I was a day case. I went home on the same day. But it was taking me so long to wake up that they thought they were going to have to put me on the ward overnight. So I'm not 100% sure how long my surgery took. I'm guessing anywhere between half an hour and 2 or 3 hours. I don't know. I've had previous caesareans. I've had previous ruptured ovarian cysts. I had endometriosis the last time I had a laparoscopy 25 years ago. So when they got in there, they may have needed to also clean up endometriosis and adhesions. I don't know. I'll have to wait till I see my surgeon in 5.5 weeks' time. But I will also update on that. Now, recovery-wise, I was really dopey coming out of that. I had a little bit of pain when I came out. The nurse in recovery always says, have you got any pain? And then they want a number. And it was really, really minor. Like, I've honestly had worse period pains. So I said, about a 3. So she gave me some, I don't know what she gave me, fentanyl or endone or something through my drip. I was really, really out of it. And then I felt a little bit sick, so they gave me something for that as well. And then I was just trying to wake up. But I woke up from it okay. I could breathe. I wasn't in terrible pain. I wasn't terribly nauseous or anything like that. I came out of this one okay. It just took me a long time to actually wake up. So when I've got 2 cuts. I've got one in the general region of my belly button. I'm not sure where, because there's a bit of gauze over it, and then a tegaderm dressing. And I've got one in the middle at the top of my pubic line, like right where my T-junction for my fleur-de-lis tummy tuck is. That one did get wet on Sunday, so I have changed that one, so I have seen it. And it looks like it's just got one stitch in there, and it looks to be maybe a centimetre long. Actually looks a little bit bruised today, like that bruising's coming out. My belly button one, I spoke to the surgeon about it before I went in, and I just said to him, look, I don't care what scars look like, but I don't want the shape of my belly button getting messed up. So he said he would cut through the existing vertical scar underneath my belly button, and I think he might have cut into my belly button a little bit. I'm not sure. I think he's the same surgeon that did some gynae surgery for my daughter last year, and I imagine I'll have the same cut as her, which is in the belly button and then vertically down underneath the belly button a little bit. As long as the scar, my belly button is still pretty, because my plastic surgeon did a really nice job on my belly button, I'll be happy. He said all of the stitches are dissolvable stitches. Now, I did see a visible stitch in my pubic line incision, but I know from previous surgeries I've had that quite often you can see the stitch on the outside. It looks like like an external stitch that needs removing, but they dissolve after. It takes a few weeks, but they dissolve and they drop off. So I'm not worried about that. And honestly, if I need one stitch taken out, whatever, that doesn't bother me. When I did go in there, he spoke to me and he said that if he got in there and there were too many adhesions, he wouldn't be able to do the tubal ligation via keyhole. And did he want me to do a bigger surgery to do that? So I spoke to him again then, is it really actually that bad if I get pregnant after an endometrial ablation? And he said, yes, it really is that bad. And so I asked him what the surgery would be like, and he said it would be like a caesarean cut, but not as big. So it would be like that low along the pubic line, but not as big. And I said to him, again, I said, you know, I'm very happy with my tummy tuck scar. I have had cesareans before, and when I've been stitched up, I got the overhang, that little apron over the scar. I said, would that happen again if I had the bigger incision, or would it heal nice and flat like it is now? And he actually laughed, and he said, that doesn't, no, it'll be flat. And I said, you know, will I have external stitches if that's the case? And he said, no. He said, we don't do that to people anymore. He said it will be all internal stitches. So that reassured me. That was one thing I worried about, was if they had to do like an open incision, that I'd end up with that shelf tummy hanging over the scar again. But he said no. So that was okay. I gave him the go-ahead to, if he needed to open me up bigger, to do that, which he didn't. I've only got the 2 tiny little scars. And there was something, oh yeah, and I asked him as well how long I would be in hospital if he had to completely open me up to do it, and he said 3 days. So I thought, well, that'd be my weekend gone, but that would be okay. And I've recovered from cesareans before. I know, you know, I knew what I would be in for if that were the case. But as I said, everything went well. So then I had the surgery. Oh, when I went in there, I'm a phlebotomist, right? I can stick needles in people to draw blood, but I'm not, I can't put in IVs, but, you know, I'm familiar with sticking needles in people, so it doesn't bother me to have an IV put in, as long as I put it in here, right? That doesn't bother me. Or there, if it's a really good anaesthetist. I don't have, for the most part, I don't have good veins, but I've got one single good vein here. I don't know how much longer it's going to last because it's quite scarred. Now, I had been in the hospital 2 days before I had this procedure done, because I had what they're calling a vasovagal reaction, which is just I didn't faint, but I almost fainted. And then, of course, because I have anxiety, I had a panic attack. Massive panic attack. Went straight up to the hospital, and, you know, my blood pressure was sky high and my heart rate was elevated. I felt like I was going to pass out. It was a really shitty time. I thought I was having a heart attack. I actually literally thought, this is it. This is it. This is me having a heart attack. But it wasn't. My heart was fine. So I'd had an IV put in this arm only 2 days before the procedure, and I think I'd had a blood test like 1 or 2 days before that. So this poor little scarred vein had already been through a lot in the last couple of days. So when I went in to see the anaesthetist, I normally do this deal with them. I drive anaesthetists crazy. I say to them, can you please put the drip in here, and then when I'm out, you can put another one wherever you want. If that one's not convenient for you, you can put one wherever you want. I don't care. You can put them in my feet. I don't care, as long as I'm out when you do it. And all anaesthetists are fine with that. So he tried to put one in up here, and that didn't work. So then he starts, oh, we'll put one in. I said, no, I prefer you didn't. I've had a drip in the other side, in this arm, in that area. Really hurt, really bruised, really swollen. That's not a good place for me. I'm very, very sensitive. So then, you know, flips over my hand. He starts looking at my hand veins. And I'm like, no, my hand vein, you'll regret it if you use my hand vein. They don't work. They collapse. They tissue. They're very, very difficult. I know you're an anaesthetist. You're an expert at this. I know you think that you can do it. But trust me when I say it's not going to work. It's not going to work as it should. So anyway, tried up here. That didn't work. So then he tried, after I told him, oh, Bruce, he tried, I'll put it this way, so he tried here. That didn't work. Then he tried my hand. My hand is sore, but it's not bruised. But the vein, you know, it's a tiny little bit bruised, but not really anything to speak of. It's very, very sore. Now, normally, and I have had a lot of IVs, I've had a lot of surgeries, right? So I'm not just some stupid woman who doesn't know what she's talking about. Every single other IV I've had in my life, and I think I've had 15 or 16 surgeries, plus colonoscopies and gastroscopies, plus other procedures where they've had to put an IV in, like contrast scanning and all that sort of thing, right? When they put an IV in they flush it with saline, and then, you know, like when they're putting in medications, you know, like painkillers and antiemetics and general anaesthetics and sedatives, all those sorts of things. The only time I have ever felt any of those was in a IV in my hand that tissued. Surprise, that hurts like fuck when it goes in. Really, really, really hurts because it leaks out of the vein, it goes into the tissues, it hurts. But only the antibiotics were hurting. Every other time, I never feel anything. I never get that cold sensation, nothing. As soon as he got that vein in, and it really hurt, because I had a local anaesthetic for each time he tried, and then like the needles for each time he tried, which still hurt, even despite having had a local anaesthetic. And then he tried to, he flushed it, and that hurt. It like hurt all the way up here, like really, really hurt. And I said to him, that really hurts. And he said, oh yeah, that's normal. I said, well, it might be normal for other people. It's not normal for me. I don't normally feel it. And then he put the midazolam in, which is, oh, I love midazolam. That's the happy drug they give you before having a general anaesthetic. That hurt. And then when he put the, is it propofol? The Michael Jackson killer drug, the general anaesthetic, that hurt. And then when I came out of the surgery and I was in recovery, and they put the, painkillers and the antiemetics in, they really, really hurt. And every time they do that, they flush it with saline. That really hurt. And there was some nurse in there, and I'd like to find out who he was. I didn't even have my eyes open. I was too dopey, but they were pushing something through. And I said, oh, that really, really hurts. And he said, no, it doesn't. Okay. This is my body, and if I say it hurts, it fucking hurts. But anyway, he probably shouldn't be a nurse if he's going to have that sort of attitude. So, but all that went well, and, you know, that bruise is just another one of those collateral, you know, wounds that I get every time I have a surgery. So I came home and I slept most of the rest of the day. I was just so groggy, I just couldn't keep my eyes open. Really didn't have much in the way of pain. I think I had some Panadol when I came home, and I think I had Panadol the next day. I don't think I've had Panadol today. I have been taking Panadol, but because my back hurts, it's not for my belly. I've just had very minor, like period-type cramps up until yesterday. I haven't had any since yesterday. But what did start 2 days ago was, or actually, like right from the start, I think I pooed on the Saturday. I had the surgery on the Friday, pooed on the Saturday. Now, just say that's your uterus, and that's your bowel where it goes down to poo. In that bit where it joins, like in there's a little pouch. It's called the pouch of Douglas, or the cul-de-sac. And mine, last time I had a laparoscopy 25 years ago, it was full of endometriosis. There was just apparently a massive amount of endometriosis in there, and the surgeon got rid of as much of that endometriosis as he could, but he said to me after the surgery that he debated whether or not to do it because I would probably end up with scarring and adhesions that might cause pain. They did cause pain. Not all the time, though. It seemed to be hormonal, but very often when I need to poo, when the poo goes down through that part of my bowel or my colon to come out, as it goes past my uterus, it hurts like a motherfucker. The pain is so bad, but I know that just get it done and then the pain is gone. So, and I've just put up with that. That has got a lot worse. So I'm just assuming that they've maybe taken down adhesions there, or scarring, or there's been more endometriosis in there that they've had to deal with, and it's just a bit raw in there, maybe swollen or whatever. So I'm hoping that that's just temporary. But 2 days ago I noticed as well that when I need to wee, if I don't go and wee straight away, I'm getting a sharp stabbing pain shooting down the front of my mons, which is the fleshy bit at the front where your pubes are, above the cleft of the vulva. I'm getting a shooting pain shooting down there into my clitoris. That's not fun. It is not fun at all. but I go and I wee, and it's very, 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 very severe. But I'm not taking Panadol or anything for it because it's like I need to wee. Oh, shit, that hurts. Go, wee. And the pain completely goes. So that's... If it's still like that in a week, I'll go and see my GP about it. But I'd say it's probably just swollen and some pressing on a nerve or whatever. The bleeding, when I woke up from the surgery enough and I was able to get up and get dressed, when I sat up, I had what felt like a gush of blood, but it wasn't really. It was only a tiny little bit. Like I had my undies on, I had a pad in my undies, just a normal pad, you know, with wings. I don't normally use pads. I find them very confusing. I'm a tampon girl, but I'm not allowed to use tampons at the moment. So just a normal, regular, everyday pad. And I got up and I felt like what I thought was a gush, because I'm not used to feeling blood like actually leaving my body, because, you know, when you use tampons, it's all internal. It's all very nice and neat and clean and tidy, and it's not messy. You don't feel shit leaving your body. So anyway, I thought, well, I'll be all right. I've got a pad on. So, you know, I went home and I thought I better go to the toilet. I'm going to need to change that pad. It's going to be loaded full. But it wasn't. It was just this. I didn't even need to change it. It was barely more than a skid mark, really. And that's all I bled for that day. I bled around about the same on the Saturday and the Sunday. Very, very little. No bleeding since Sunday. I had like a sparrow's fart, a bit of brown discharge yesterday, but that's been it. Nothing when I've been wiping. So that's been the extent of the bleeding. Now, the other thing, as I was saying earlier, and I'll try to not get too TMI about this, but I think it's important for people to know, because I was looking for it, couldn't find it. When I read about all these women who were unable to have an orgasm after endometrial ablation and tubal ligation, I thought, fuck no, I've got to test this. I've got to take this for a test run and make sure that everything's working okay, because I'm not going to be able to sleep if I wait until I know that everything works okay. So I did a test run, and I can say everything works. It wasn't like normal, but having said that, I was a little bit apprehensive, because, you know, when you do have an orgasm, everything contracts, including your uterus. And I thought, oh, I might have a bit of pain here when it's contracting, but I didn't. And that was actually the point where I'd had like period type cramping up until that point, and I've had no period cramps after that. So perhaps, ladies, if you're having those sort of period cramps after endometrial ablation, go and have a little bit of self-service, and it might be good to help relieve some of the pain. Having said that, on my paperwork, it did say that I was allowed to have normal sex after 2 or 3 days. I don't know what they term normal sex, but I think after endometrial ablation and hysteroscopy and that sort of thing, probably at least for a week or two, or at least until you stop bleeding, it would not be a good idea to have any kind of penetrative sex. I certainly would not be putting anything inside my vagina to have an orgasm, but mine's all external stimulation anyway, so that was fine. Yeah, as I said, it wasn't like normal, but I was a little bit apprehensive that, number one, it would hurt afterwards, and, you know, like once that train leaves the station, there's no stopping it. And I was also just a little bit apprehensive that I wouldn't be able to. So it wasn't the best orgasm of my life. You know, like some you have, and it's like, you know, it's over almost before you start, and it's like life-changing. And then there's those other ones where you're like, well, that's 10 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Or I wish I hadn't wasted the batteries on that. It was one of those ones. So I expect that was just a bit of apprehension, maybe a bit of swelling, pressing on things. But it does work if, over the course of time, things don't improve and I don't get some really good normal ones again, I'll make another video updating on that. So no news will be good news on that front. I don't know if there was anything else. Oh yeah, on day 5, I'm allowed to take my dressings off, but I'm not going to until they fall off or until they wet through. Although my top one I may have to remove soon because I'm getting a little bit of irritation on the side. I do get a little bit allergic to the adhesives. But as I said, when I do take them off, I'll make another video so everyone can see how it's affected my existing scars. And for now, I think that's it. I'm going to go get the bus into the shops because I'm going stir crazy. It's Wednesday and I've not left the house since last Friday, and last Friday was to go and have surgery. So that's all, and I'll talk to you again soon.